We should all agree the answer is not to defund the police. It's to fund the police. Fund them. Fund them. Fund them with resources and training. Resources and training they need to protect our communities.
My job is to debunk the narrative that gun violence and homicide is just a blue city thing. When President Joe Biden confirmed that he didn't want to defund the police, which included verbal italics while saying he intended to fund the police, I wasn't surprised. This was always his position. For lack of a better term, I may have been shocked when he received a standing ovation from all of Congress, those across the aisle in particular, who are readily willing to blame the uptick in homicides since the start of the pandemic on Democrats. Red states, those who voted for Trump in the 2020 presidential election, have a higher homicide rate than their blue counterparts, those that voted for Biden in the 2020 presidential election. But little things like facts and data won't stop Fox News, OAN, Newsmax, and CNN for that matter from pointing to Democratic-led cities, for instance, and saying there were X number of murders in Chicago just this past weekend. But that's where they mess up. It's not as simple as staking your claim that more funding and more police officers lead to less homicide either. With that said, let's look at a crime is out of control city like Chicago, which is roughly the same size as another Midwest city, Columbus, yet features 1.8 million more people. Not that I'm saying the city's population density is the issue, but the sheer difference in the amount of people from one city to another may mean that it's more appropriate to use a rate. As you can see, of the top 65 US cities with the highest murder rate per 100,000 residents before the pandemic, Chicago ranked 28th, in between Buffalo and Chattanooga. Can someone in the comment section please let me know if a congressperson outside of either New York or Tennessee or a national news talking head has complained about homicides in those two cities? No disrespect to Baltimore and St. Louis, but their murder rates being the top two in the country aren't talked about as often as Chicago, and these cities are led by Democratic mayors as well. More on this later. A rate doesn't look as bad as a whole number from the city with the third most amount of people in the US. Anyways, as I alluded to earlier, Chicago has the third highest per capita police spending of any major US city, and Chicago has the third highest number of police officers per 1,000 residents and the second highest among fairly large cities. The same goes for other cities known for gun violence. Now, the issue of homicides and murder rates is much more complex than what I'm presenting, but the people who say, well, look at Chicago, for one, aren't trying to help. And they might want to come up with something other than police funding and the availability of police officers, or the fact that almost 2/3 of major US cities are led by Democratic mayors. Based on these few examples, murder is a problem in a lot of major US cities, and Democrats lead a lot of major US cities. It's not mutually exclusive. I mean, Jacksonville is the largest GOP city with a Republican mayor, and wait, that's Jacksonville on the homicide rate list. There's Oklahoma City and Miami too. More cities ran by Repubs. San Antonio, San Diego, Dallas, and Columbus are led by Democratic mayors, and they aren't even on this list. Weird. Oh yeah, cities that spend a similar amount on their police forces can have very different outcomes. Jacksonville, Florida, and Austin, Texas, led by a Dem, both spend about $445 per resident on police budgets in 2017. However, that same year, Jacksonville saw 12 homicides per 100,000 people, while Austin saw 3 homicides per 100,000 people. But this doesn't let Democrats off the hook. They have to do something, and it starts with them. For Rebel HQ, I'm Jeff Wiggins. My architect knows Japanese. For more from the Young Turks, stay right here. If you want to see content from yours truly, click on the hashtag below. I can also be found on all socials at He Gonna Be Alright. Thanks for watching.